Why don't you just build a workshop in the back?
Back to the channel. In this video, I want to share with you the number one comment I receive on my channel, especially when I'm working outdoors, is why don't I have a detached garage or a pole barn? And I wanted to take, in this video, I want to share with you plans I have for a detached garage and why I'm debating not building it. And I have a couple different sets of plans for the garage. So I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll share with you some of my thought process on designing the garage, and also a little bit of the cost or the budget I have for the garage, and then the reasons why I'm considering not building it. So I hope you stay with me and watch the whole video. So let's start off with the location of the garage. And keep in mind, I'll cover it a little later, in my neighborhood in New York State, in my town, in this neighborhood, I cannot really build a pole barn. It's really not an option. So in this neighborhood, in a residential area, if any structure has to go through a tough approval process in our town, and it has to match the finishes on the house. This cannot have metal panels on the sides of the building. It would have to have wood siding. The trim has to match. The roof has to match. I can't build a pre-engineered building. I can't build a less expensive pole barn. And also, I own several pole barns, and they work well. They're not long duration buildings in my mind for the Northeast, because they really, they're pole barns. The foundation is a pole placed in the ground, and even though, so the pole will eventually rot, it can settle, it can, over years and years and years, it's likely to have problems with structure in our area with the foundation. So there's a lot of ways to make that pole in the ground more substantial, putting it on a concrete base, or even a steel portions of it, have encapsulating in steel, or having it sit on steel that goes in the ground. In the end, it's not a substantial structure. It's not a standard that I would like to have on my property. That's not to say that other people who build pole barns on their property, that it's wrong to do. I'm not saying that. But for my property, which is a very residential property, it's not a rural property, a pole barn is not in the picture for this structure. I'm going with a full foundation, a footing with a wall on top of it, a concrete footing with a concrete wall on top of it, reinforced. It is going to be built just the way I would do a garage for a house, or build a house, or commercial structure in our area. So that's how I approach this project. Now, which in turn, one, I'm limited by the codes in the town, but also with my house, I need a structure that's going to add value to my house and not take value away from my house. And that makes this structure very expensive. And that's why I'm on the fence, my wife and I, whether we should build it or not. So if you can follow my cursor, this is a lawn area of my property, really in much debate where we were going to put a detached garage if we did one. As you can see, this is the outline of my house. This is the driveway, approximately where you watch me snowblow my driveway. That is the overlay is slightly off. That's the end of my concrete driveway. And after I, at one time, wanted to put it over here, on this area of my property. Then I thought about moving it up to this location with a separate driveway to the street. In this area, the building would go here. My wife and I batted this around for a couple years at least, and we finally tentatively settled on putting it at the end of the driveway. And really, as you can see, this is my property line, and it would give us our neighbor privacy and also give us privacy for the rest of our enjoying the rest of our lot, what we do on our property. That's not a huge concern, but it's a nice added bonus putting it on this location. Also, it's cost saving. I don't have to pay the cost, even though I do much of it myself, of adding another driveway to this structure. So this ended up being the most cost-effective location on my property at the end of the existing driveway. So I'm zooming in on the site plan. This is an easier floor plan to lead. This is the ground level floor of the garage. And the simple dimension from front to rear on the garage is 28 feet. And I want to say it's about 38 feet wide. It has a stairway to go up into a second floor storage area. And a big reason, an incentive for my wife to build the garage and for me is that it would have a large covered patio totally looking into our property and not on any neighbor's property. And that would go in this location. And it's a nice size. Its covered patio would be 28 inches in length and 16 feet in width. And if I built this design of the garage, I would do the perimeter with a full foundation to manage frost. And so if it need be in the future, this could be enclosed as a 3-season or even a 4-season room. I think this is a very nice feature on the garage and adds value to not only the garage but our property in general. So this gives you a general layout of the garage. Now, the garage doors are large. They're 10 by 10s. I can put my excavator in this garage to work on it. 28 feet in depth should be long enough where I can put the excavator in with the boom down. I looked up the length of my pickup truck, and I believe I have a 5-foot bed. And I think my truck is 17 feet in length. Even if I got a crew cab that had an 8-foot bed, I would still have almost 10 feet behind the pickup truck if I put it in this area. Plenty of width. I could put a full stack of tools on each end of the garage and down on this side of the garage. I could put my tool cabinets on this side of the garage, compressor, garbage cans, and still have more than enough room to open the doors on any vehicle I pulled inside. And also do it in the center bay. And of course, on the right-hand side, huge area to put tools all along this wall on the right-hand side. Patio, thought about putting my wife's hot tub on the patio. Also doing an outdoor kitchen, probably in this area, and possibly in this location, a brick or contained fireplace. Add a little bit of warmth and atmosphere, ambiance when you're on the patio. Look at the fire. So we'll move on to some other details. This is the elevation of the garage you would see from the street. And it has the proportions are very similar to the house. You can see the pitch on the roof matches my house pitch, especially the pitch over the garage. The height is very similar to my garage. Will go in, but the height of the soffit is about 15 and a half feet, and then all the way up to the peak, this height is, I believe, 32 feet. The garage doors are 10 by 10 feet wide by 10 feet high. So my excavator, which cannot fit in my garage now, could fit in this garage to be worked on or possibly storage. The patio, the covered patio is just awesome. So imagine that's 15 feet to the soffit of the house or to the gutters on the house. And then the height underneath this patio would be, 12 feet, 13 feet. I would maybe even bring that down a little bit because that's high. No doubt we would have some lighting, soffit lighting in here, and some fans to cool during the summer. This feature is along my street side. The wainscot of stone is, so it matches my house. The siding, both my wife and I really like garage doors that look like they're barn doors, or in this case, even a door that would be on a barn, an equestrian barn with horses in it. We like that style. So this may not be the exact style, but it would be similar. My house currently on the front side, because I like the way they look, I have double hung windows with grills in it on the street side of our house. And then that's for a street view. And then the rear windows on the house, the perimeter, have casement windows for an unobstructed view, which really shows off our property well from the inside. Why I don't like one big garage door, and this is improved over time, but years ago when I built my first house, they used to do these headers out of 2x10s or 2x12s, sometimes double stacked, and they would sag the header across the door on a wide, double wide garage door would sag in the center. So I don't like that, and I take the extra precaution to put a section of wall, bearing wall, between the doors to support the headers so it's a short span. And also, I can go space these doors further apart. So even in my garage now, 2 cars can pull in the garage, park, and the doors aren't hitting each other. You can see that this is a substantial building. It's 32 feet high, 15 foot to the soffit or the eave on the garage. And I'm telling you that so you understand it's an expensive structure to build. Certainly, I could build a larger pole barn with a lower roof line that would be much less money, but I can't in my neighborhood. And I don't think it's a good decision to do with this house. So we'll move on. I love the design of the house or the garage. I just think it's we worked with a designer, Christina, and she just did an awesome job. Really the focus, I've had built and designed 2 houses that I've lived in personally, and both have had really good garages. Interesting fact, my first house had a 2-car garage, oversized, not a standard 2-car garage, and I sold it to a couple, and then 20 years later, my niece and her husband bought my house. I think that's really cool. But the garage was nice, and what I like is that you can pull 2 cars in your garage or trucks and open the door and not hit the car next to you, or open the door and not hit garbage cans or tool cabinets that are next to your vehicle. So I like to add this center bearing wall section here where I can move the doors further apart. that gains distance between the two vehicles. I also extend the walls. You can see the width of this wall next to the parking bay is 3.2 feet. So I can put a 2-foot toolbox easily in this area, park my car or truck, open it up, and not hit the toolbox. Again, keep in mind that this door is 10 feet wide, so it's a very wide door. Parking spaces are usually only 8 feet wide. So the door is going a foot beyond, maybe even 2 feet, not 2 feet, but a foot and a half beyond the width of any vehicle that I pull in here, especially a car. Design considerations, of course, I'm going to have 2 garage doors. It's a large garage. My truck would probably be in one of these bays during the winter time, and a piece of equipment also would be stored in here during the winter time. I had a garage door put on the back, so muddy equipment wouldn't go across my driveway. This is the back of the house. Driveway is here. So I thought I'd leave my trailer for off-road riding behind the garage, just back my truck up, hook it up, and then pull it through the garage, out the front of the garage to leave, because I don't like being able to see the trailer from the road. So I would put it behind the garage. This garage door is probably going to be eliminated. One, a wall is more efficient with heat, and 2, it's just an added cost that I don't think it needs. I guess I'll have to put up with moving the trailer around and not pulling it through the garage. It just seems to be an extravagance that I don't want to pay for if I do the garage. So plenty of tool cabinet room on the sidewall. Also along this sidewall, there's, you can see 1'10" of wall, a 2'8" door, and then another 3' 2" of wall. So this is a big area to put tool cabinets. And this stair is above the finished floor. You would go up the stairs from this location, up, and then turn on a landing and go to the second floor in this route. But plenty of storage along this wall. Center support beam. There would be no columns in this garage. It's a center support beam to support the second floor. And most likely in this bay, I would have a lift of some sort. I don't know the exact model, but in this bay, probably have a lift to maybe store some vehicles and work on vehicles in this location. In our area, code is if you have garage doors, you need to have some type of man door next to it. So that would be the man door that if I, of course, this is how I would probably enter the garage most of the time, through this area. And then if I had my snow blower and tractor or track loader were in this garage during the winter, I would shovel my way to this door, get in, and then start the machine from this area to blow the snow off the driveway. And then, of course, in this location is the covered patio, which I think the size is fantastic. I think it would just be awesome. This is the second floor of the garage. Again, from the lower level, you would come up this set of stairs, turn on the landing, and then go up a second set of stairs, and you'd be on the main level. I really like this feature because it could make an office, a very rough office, simple office. It could be a changing area or possible bathroom for people using the hot tub. They could enter this area to change. It could be possibly, we can't have apartments in our town on houses, but we can have in-law apartments that family members want to stay in a, an apartment above a garage or apartment with a second access. Our town does allow that, which I think is great. So this could be finished out for an area for my mother-in-law to live or one of my children. in the future. So this was a nice feature, but again, it's a luxury. It's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in this area finishing out. You can see it's roughly 816 plus 6. It's about 22 feet in width and 28 feet in length. Be an efficiency apartment, no doubt, but it's a luxury and a very expensive luxury that is probably going to be eliminated from the design. In this video, I'm actually talking myself into building this garage. Maybe I should stop. It's going to cost my wife and I a lot of money. This is a section through the house, through the garage, and it's across the width of the garage. So you can see the stairway in the back of the garage where you go up one flight of stairs, you hit the landing, turn 90 degrees, go up another flight of stairs, and you're on the second level of the house. Wow, really nice ceiling clearance. 10.5 feet to the center flat ceiling. You can see that we're losing some, at this wall is 6 feet high, which is really good for an attic room. So probably, generally more than 8 feet of clearance in most of this room, which I think is great access. Nice windows front and back on the north and south side of the house. You go downstairs, this door enters into the backyard with this garage door, which is probably going to be eliminated. And by the way, this door would be eliminated also, which again just makes more room for storage on the inside of the structure. Beam supporting the second level. These wood posts are buried in the wall. You can see in-wall cavity, wood posts, both sides of steel beam. So they would be at the ends of the steel beam supporting it. So there would be no columns in the center of the garage floor. Our area, a lot of insulation. You can see insulation separating the first and second floor, plus around in the roof. There's insulation. Actually, the roof pitch is 12-12. You can see that up in this corner. Walls I'm a firm believer in 2x6 wall construction. So the walls would be 2x6 wall. The stone would be a veneer on the front. You can see the full footing foundation. And the wall, I'm going to zoom in on this and talk about it a little later. And I'll talk about that in another section of this video. Section through the patio, nice high ceiling in the patio, over 12 feet, 2 columns. And again, the perimeter of this would eventually be, you can see he's got dotted in. More than likely, I would do an option with a frost-free foundation to go around the perimeter of the covered patio. Wow, guys, I like this design. I'm not, this is another section. This is looking a section from the front to the back of the garage. And remember, this is 28 feet from this wall to this wall. And my garage doors are big. So this is somewhat out of proportion. These are the tracks the garage door travels on. I really don't like these rails sitting here for clearance if I do put a lift in, especially in my second design, which I'll review with you. The design that reduces the cost of the garage. The rails for the garage door would definitely go up the face of the wall and then hug the ceiling and probably be much shorter after going up the face. I don't like them hanging down into the room. And then this garage door is most likely going to be eliminated. This is a close-up of the foundation, and the exact engineering of this foundation hasn't been worked out, but I do like what the architect did. Is that there is a footing with reinforced rebar steel in it and then on top of the footing we usually put a key in to tie the wall that gets poured on top of the footing into the footing, and then there will be more rebar in this wall. And this will probably be 4,000 pound concrete. Frost is 42 inches in our area, but lately engineers have been running foundations to 4'6", and that looks like what this foundation is down to. So we put rigid foam insulation on the interior of the wall, even walls without basements, and down the face of the footing. I love that. In our area, we use stone because of our soils and also the frost and the moisture we get. So wherever we have a structural slab or a driveway, a sidewalk, we put stone backfill up against the footing. So you can see there's stone in this location on either side of the foundation as backfill, and then we put a minimum of 6 inches of stone underneath the concrete slab and the patio slab. And I like to use mesh because I don't like the looks of fiber concrete on a finished slab. If you use fibrous materials as reinforcing in the slab, I like to use steel mesh in the slab. I'm just old school that way. That's what I like. Now, on a pole barn, let's talk briefly about that. On a pole barn, and again, I'm not bashing pole barns. In a pole barn, the foundation would be poles. The poles, vertical poles on a pole barn, are what are bearing, what are structural to the pole barn. The pole, wood pole, and most are treated, would actually be sunk in the ground and be backfilled with stone or dirt. They do put concrete around the base of the pole when it's sunk in the ground. I think that kind of adds to the rotting of the pole, but they do that, and then they backfill with stone. There are companies that manufacture concrete bases for pole barns that get buried in the ground, and then the pole sits on top of that. I really like that. That's a good design. And even if I built a barn, I would probably build it with a concrete base and not a wood pole buried in the ground. That's just the contractor side of me. I would want something that would be more durable for the long run. And the pole barns that I have, that I own corporately, we do put concrete floors in them. They're a little more substantial than just a stone or dirt floor pole barn. So that's a look at how we do foundations in our area. This is a view, an elevation of looking at the back of the garage that you would see from the backyard looking towards the street. Again, this garage door and maybe even this man door would be eliminated. Really wanted to show you the patio, covered patio, which I like. Again, 16 feet wide, 28 feet in width. This stone wall, that's a wainscot on the front of the building, would carry across the patio, covered patio, to add some privacy from the road. Also is a great location to put some cabinets and also mount a grill, a seasonal grill or seasonal sink. And again, this has a possibility of being enclosed either 3-season windows, or I would like to do it where it could possibly be fully enclosed for a 4-season room with heat. And again, maybe the fireplace can supply enough heat for this room to keep it warm during the winter. So really, this is a big attraction for both. Not only my wife would like a covered patio, also I would. It just makes for a much easier task of not having to clean your patio furniture all the time, and gives you some protection, especially in our area. You wouldn't believe it. Buffalo, New York, we just get a ton of sun at times during the summertime, almost unbearable especially around the dinner hour. So really would make this offer tremendous shade for the patio when we want to entertain. Not that we do a ton of it, but it's probably the nicest feature of this patio. Before I go into the redesign to reduce cost, just wanted to show you this is the side of the garage where the patio would be. And again, I just like the dimensions, 28 feet from outside column to outside column, 16 feet in depth. I would not side this wall because potentially it would end up being an interior wall. This would be some type of lapboard, shipboard, something, or stone. It would be a nicer finish than vinyl siding. Also, when my brother did his covered patio, he actually put wood flooring on the ceiling, which just was amazing. This is a big incentive for us to do this garage outside of just having 2 more garage bays on our house. So, and keep in mind, my son and daughter will probably be moving out. A lot of people have said I needed to build a garage because so many cars in the driveway. My son and daughter will most likely be moving out in the near future, in the next 2 to 3 years. Easily one of them is going to be moving out and possibly another one. So I would not have the cars in the driveway as many as I do now. Okay, Marauders, this was a redesign. You know, I don't like to do it, but probably, you know, not often, but, you know, sometimes when I'm working on a commercial project, I have to value engineer the project, come up with a design, a concept that is going to meet the customer's needs, which in this case is my wife and I, but is less expensive. And this is the value engineered floor plan to reduce the cost. And I look at it and I don't like the garage as much, and I'll explain the differences, but it would work. There's no doubt about it. It would work, and it would probably save $20,000, $30,000, maybe even more than that. So in this plan, the depth of 28 feet is the same in the garage. The width has been shortened over 3 feet, 4 feet in width. So you notice I don't have the room now for a man door in front where I had 1.5 feet of wall, then a 2'8" man door, and another 3'2" of wall, and then the patio. That has been eliminated. I still have enough room to put compressor, tool cabinets, garbage cans along this wall, also along the back and on the side, and even tool cabinets in the center if I had to. So more than enough room to use this as a garage. Big deal, though. You can see there's no stairway in this location to go up to the second floor. So there's no storage or potential for a efficiency apartment above the garage, or an office. That's been eliminated. And again, that saves a lot of money pulling that out. I have yet to reprice this plan, but I'll do some cost at the end of the video to probably in the next segment of this video to discuss the cost. This garage door is still in the back. Again, I think that would be eliminated. My wife kept asking, why is that needed? And I think she's right. I don't need that garage door in the back. That's thousands of dollars. Would no doubt be an insulated door with an operator, and that barn style door is probably expensive compared to just a blank door or just a paneled door. But one thing I would not change, especially for my wife, is a covered patio. The size of the covered patio remains the same. And so it would still have a nice patio, more than efficient garage. Now, the value engineered garage would have a cathedral ceiling. So I might not be able to have a lift right up against this wall, although I think I still could because these are still 10 by 10 doors. But I would have a lift either in this bay or it could be on wheels. They're generally on wheels. I could move it into the center. So I would have the ability to put a lift in and maybe have the lift go up even higher without that second floor in this garage. So that's still very functional. So this is the value engineered floor plan. This is the revised front elevation of the building. So you can see that the volume of the garage is getting smaller. So where this eave was 15.5 feet, now it is 3 feet lower and it's 12'8" above the finished floor. So it's been reduced almost 3 feet. That's a definite cost savings. Where the peak was at 32 feet on the original plan, now it's at 28 feet. Again, 4 feet, at least 4 feet lower in height. Again, my wife probably loves that proportion. She was concerned it was too small. I'm sorry, too big. These windows are for aesthetic purposes only to let light into the garage. Again, this would be open. This would not be the ceiling in the garage. It would have a cathedral ceiling, more likely like this, with a cross member and then down. So very open ceiling, still enough room for a lift. Even at 12 feet, there would be enough for a lift. You'd probably have to bend down, but definitely if I moved it in the center, more than enough height. Garage doors are 10 by 10. I can still get my excavator easily into this garage or a large truck. This is definitely a more realistic plan. Definitely more practical. 10-foot lower ceiling height on the patio. That not only reduces cost, but it's also going to help with the sunlight, keeping the sun out of the occupied areas of the patio. So that works out really well. Let's talk a little bit about cost. My thinking is that maybe 10 years from now, costs always keep going up. Typically, values of property keep going up. Maybe 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I would get a 100% return on the investment in this structure. But on the short term, which I really think of, as you know, with my equipment, on the short term, if we were to sell this house in 2 or 3 years, we would take a loss on this garage, no doubt in my mind. I have to think, my wife and I are thinking about that when it comes, do we really need this garage? Is it a good investment? I get some comments very critical of the machines that I buy. I buy too many machines. I change them too often. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to go bankrupt. On and on and on. Some are they're hurtful, they're sarcastic, maybe even mean. But even under those mean ones, there's an underlying concern, are you watching your money? So I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that people are concerned about what I spend on an off-road machine or a machine to take care of the property. Please be assured, my wife, I analyze these decisions when I do them. I talk them over with my wife. She's not often thrilled with them. Some she understands. Some she isn't so understanding about. But she's my partner in life, and she's amazing. And believe me, if she thought I was getting into something that I couldn't afford, she would put a stop to it, like any good wife would. She no doubt keeps me grounded and balanced. Right now on this property, we have very, very, very little debt, very, very little mortgage. And both of us are extremely comfortable with that. So I don't have a large mortgage on this property. It will be paid off very soon in the near future. Also, the equipment that I have at any time. Some of it is paid in, most of it is paid in full, the equipment I have. The larger equipment I have finance. Some it's 0%, which is paid down very quickly. Others at a very low, imagine a loan at 1.9%. So others at very low interest rates, and those get paid down quickly. And the balance, I have a lot of equity in those machines. Actually, I have a ton of equity in all my off-road equipment and my excavator and my track hole. A lot of equity. So push comes to shove, if I was injured and it didn't make sense to have an excavator or a track loader or all that off-road equipment I have, I could sell it within weeks, months, a year, have money in the bank, and I would not have to pay off a loan on any of the equipment. If I wasn't around, my wife wouldn't have to pay off a loan in the negative. She'd be in the plus on any of that equipment and off-road machines that we have. We'd be in a good state. What concerns both of us is to build the structure. We really don't want to take out a loan to build it. And the original cost of the first garage, remember, it's large. The enclosed area is almost 1,400 square feet, then plus the covered patio. And then that's a very large area. The first floor ceilings were at just below 15 feet. So not only is it 1,400 square feet enclosed, let me see, 500 feet under the patio, and then the volume of the building is big. It's a large structure. This would be a small house, or for some people, a large house. So the original budget we had on this was about $250,000, $250,000. I really did. Neither one of us wanted to take out a mortgage for that amount to build this. And then it comes down to cash. We can't flip out of this without selling the whole property. So in simple terms, if I buy an excavator and we're not using it, it's not the value and many people said that's an extravagant machine for your property. If I buy an excavator, especially when I put low hours on it and take care of it, as you know I do, I have that excavator, we're not using it, it's not of value, I can easily sell it and put cash in my bank account. It's going to depreciate, but I should get more than a typical excavator of that age because of the low use, and it hasn't been a heavy use on a construction site. So I won't get what I paid for it, but I can get out of it clean and with no doubt cash. We can't get out of this garage that way. It is a long-term, serious investment. And the only way we can get out of this garage is if we sold our house, and we don't want to sell our house in the near future. I think you guys can tell when I'm working on the property. We love the property. I probably love the property more than my wife does. She loves the interior of her house that she's worked on designing over the last 20 years. So this is a big decision, and we're both on the fence whether it's really needed. You can understand she really doesn't see why I need the garage. Okay, and I can see that. I'm not so sure that I have to have the garage, not only for what I do on the property or my hobbies or the channels and my YouTube channel. This is something that we're debating. Probably won't make a decision within the next month, but probably in the next several months. And believe me, YouTube Marauders, you'll be the first to know whether I'm going to build the garage. Something else I want to cover, and I can't think of it. I'm at a loss. COVID and my health. COVID and my health. Let's go through. I'll start with COVID. and the COVID economy. And remember, I'm a real estate developer. I'm a construction manager. At times, I'm a contractor. And I'm also a real estate, we also own a real estate brokerage company. So I have some background on what I'm talking about. COVID economy for the last 3 years has wreaked havoc in the construction industry. Those of you who are building a home or doing an addition on your home or building a commercial structure know how much it has increased the cost of materials. The first time I put the original design out for pricing, the wood was $80,000. That was the first time in the middle of COVID. I was shocked. I didn't spend that much on wood for my house, which is 5-6 times larger than this. I didn't spend that much on my wood and windows for my house, let alone on a garage. How much have things changed? The lumber price and window price for this structure, within the last 6 months, it went from $80,000, maybe it was like 75, went from $80,000 down to $30,000. And that is still a high price for wood, lumber, that it would have been before COVID. So in everything has roofing materials, siding, everything has gone up tremendously since COVID. When you see inflation mentioned on the news, I can tell you it is real beyond the grocery store, but gets into materials you use every day in your life beyond fuel, into construction materials. Go out and buy a car now or lease a vehicle, truck. Not fun. Not fun. The leasing rates, the purchase prices are shocking. So inflation is real. I never get political on this channel. The only thing I'll say is when you go to the polls, think about that. I'm not worried about my wife and I building this silly garage and the cost of the garage inflation. I'm worried about my kids being able to buy their first home or what they'll have to pay for an apartment. And I'm sure many, or all of you are worried about the same thing. Inflation has delayed a decision on something that's not necessarily a need, it's a want, right? There's things we want and then the things we need. This is not necessarily a need. I can definitely get by without this garage. It's a want. It'd be a very nice want and we'd use it, but it's still a want. So, I hate when I say so in videos. The second issue with the garage that has delayed the decision is my health. My diabetes is very much in control, but any of you that have diabetes or are in the medical profession know that that can change. There's no doubt in my mind that my life will more than likely be shortened because of diabetes. And the way I work now with diabetes is far different from the way I worked, well, let's say 20 years ago when I built this house. I just don't have the strength or the energy that I had well into 58 years old. I just don't. I don't have that endurance I once had or the strength. And that weighs into my decision. Because if I did anything on this building, I would do all the site work for it, which would include, definitely in our area, we have to have pipe storm drainage, a storm drainage system, bringing electrical to it, water, gas, grading, excavating for the foundation, prepping the pads for the stone, grading around the building. So I would undertake, obviously, as you know, because I have the equipment, all the site work for the structure. And I just don't know if I'm physically up to it. I don't know. So the COVID economy, inflation has delayed the decision on this garage, and also my health has pushed back the decision. And then next, interest rates. Say if we do get a loan on this, not fun having interest rates go crazy. The interest rates now are probably 5 times what our rate is on this house. That's a big turnoff. So the garage is definitely not out of the picture. It's still under consideration. I'm asking all of you, I've bared it all with you. And by the way, if I build a garage, you will see every phase of construction on the garage. And definitely you will be inside the garage for videos. So you'll see it. I'm asking you, if you've made it this far in the video, tell me what you think of the plans for the garage, the value engineered plan and the original plan. Give me your opinion on what you think of why I'm putting off this decision. Give me your honest opinion on it, please. I'd like to hear it. Again, please don't be offended if I build a garage and you didn't think I should, or if I don't build the garage and you thought I should build it. I can tell you that I can afford to build the garage. I don't know if I want to put the cash into a structure when we're so close to retirement. Even though I could put it in and we would have funds to retire in our early to mid 60s. By the way, my wife would retire. I don't know if my business, if I'll ever be able to retire. We don't know if we feel comfortable putting the money into the garage. So, Marauders, I'm asking you, please comment if you would be interested in watching me build the garage on my channel. That may weigh into my decision. If you're interested in watching the build of my garage, what you think of the original design, which is larger with a second floor, and your opinion on the value engineered design on the second floor without a second floor. Also, my comments on the COVID economy, inflation, rising interest rates. We're all living with it. Please don't think by anything that I said in this video I'm bashing pole barns. I own 2 on other pieces of property that I have. Not bashing a pole barn, just it's not the right choice. I'm confident for this property be very difficult to do. And I don't think it would be a good investment. Also, I'm not making any opinions on politics on this channel, just discussing what we watch in the news every day of COVID economy, inflation, and interest rates, how it's affecting, well, you've known how it affects my life and yours, in your life every day. I am very fortunate. My wife works very hard. I work very hard. My siblings, and now my son is in our business, we work very hard and take many risks in our business. I know I'm fortunate to even be faced with such a decision to build this garage. So please don't think I take it for granted. Thank God every day for what He has blessed us with. All of you, thank you for watching this video. I hope you made it through the end. I haven't edited yet, but I think it's a pretty thorough video. I hope you enjoyed it and find it interesting. I wish that all of you, good health to all of you, blessing to you and your family. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel for 5 years. It's been an interesting hobby, and I am so fortunate to have your support. I expect a lot of comments, guys. Thank you, and hope to see you on the trail. And God bless you. Thank you.